Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Vinten. Today I am being accompanied by a fellow content creator and streamer. Say hello.
Hey, Vinten, thanks for having me.
No worries, Prince. Glad to have you here. So today we're just going to do some fun little deck theory crafting. Nothing too crazy. We are fully aware that there will be some changes coming to a good portion of the cards, so nothing is set in stone, but it is always fun building an idea for a deck. And then if it does change, well, then we'll have to go through a new process of building up some cards. But that's the fun aspect of card building. You want to, if things get changed, it's like, all right, now I got to look at other options. How do I change it? What needs to be put in here? What doesn't work anymore? And all that jazz. So we'll start off with your Kingpin Beowulf deck, and you can walk us through it. What's going on here?
So Kingpin, it's just a play on words of like pinning, or pinging, sorry, king, pin, king, ping. We just want to ping everything as much as we can for 1 damage and see how much value we can get off of that. So there are a surprising number of cards that deal 1 damage kind of generically, broadly. And let's, I guess, look at first Beowulf. Let me pull it up here, sorry. When I survive damage, I get that much toughness, or not toughness, power or attack, and deal that much damage to the enemy barrier here. So it's important to note that he does have to survive, which means hitting him for 1, he'll absolutely survive that. And then he actually has a card that's called Dragon's Breath, and we can't see it in the deck fit here, but if you look up his card individually, you can see that it will ping something for 1 and then deal the attack to let me see here.
It will deal the character deals damage equal to its power to the enemy across from it.
Yes. And so it works similar to like a Black Knight or an en passant, but we can really take advantage of damaging our own things because we're obviously planning for that. So that's the card that you start with. Then we have some other engines, you could say. We have Burning Oil, hits everything for 1. We don't care. We have Gargoyle, who says he has move, which is nice, not a key core feature to the deck. But the key part is whenever another character enters here, deal 1 damage to it, including our own. He does not discriminate. And then probably the biggest threat would be Grendel. When I attack, deal 1 damage to everything else, including your characters, including your opponent's barrier, including your barrier, everything.
Yes.
So
this is an interesting concept on itself. So with his unique spell, obviously it says the character will deal its damage to whoever's across from it. So retrospectively, looking at this, and I can see Eeyore here, what's triggering first here? Because I'm trying to get this now in my head. If you ping Eeyore, he grows. Does he then at that point deal his 6 damage, or is he dealing 3?
Well, it's tough to say because we don't get to play with him right now. The closest thing I could probably compare it to would be Pegasus. In the demo, Pegasus, when it moves, it doubles its power.
Yeah.
And if you use a card such as En Passant, which is something we could relate to our Dragon's Breath, En Passant will move Pegasus and then deal damage according to Pegasus's power, and then Pegasus's power will double. So I'm going to assume that if you were to use Dragon's Breath on Eeyore would hit for 3 before getting the +3.
Okay, fair enough.
But it is not challenging to get him much bigger than a 3/5.
Oh, totally.
So,
Obviously, I think I'd wait a bit for him to get hit and be like, all right, now I'm a Dragon Breath Eeyore. Let's him deal, what, 9 damage to the enemy in front? Sure, no problem there. Yeah. And then swing for free.
Oh, you played a Bandersnatch? Well, let me just nuke it upon entry.
You'll have to hope that Eeyore had survived at that point, to be truthfully honest.
Well, that is the nice thing about playing 5 mana or less, is when you get into the later games and you're sitting at Eeyore and you have 7 energy, or mana, sorry, you can play things like Eeyore, Burning Oil, Dragon's Breath, or if you still have it at that point, or Eeyore into a Gargoyle. That's 7, so you can play Gargoyle first and then Eeyore, and then, you know, Dragon's Breath after that, or something like that. So you can kind of, especially in the later games, you can play Eeyore as a 7-drop with more power and toughness because we've been able to invest in him with our cheaper cards.
Yes, that's a benefit I will always agree on when it comes to lower cost cards, that you don't have to spend so much energy into, or mana.
Right.
You're making me confused now. And then get payoffs for it.
Right. And so, kind of leaning into the cheaper cost spectrum, we actually have 2 cards that they don't dig into our deck, but they just give us random cards. Magic Lamp, when I'm dealt damage, add a random spell to your hand. And Wicked Witch of the West, when I survive damage, add a Flying Monkey, which is a 2/3, to your hand, and I move 1 space to the left.
Yeah.
So, again, move. We don't really care about that. It might be convenient. The Flying Monkey, when it's played, it moves something to the location that you play the monkey in.
Yes.
So we have some move synergy, but there's just not enough room to really lean into it. What we're really looking for is, we're running a lower budget deck. What else can we play? And obviously Magic Lamp is going to be a wild card because we're not going to determine what we get with that. We could get Obliterate, we could get Bullseye, you know?
True. You don't know what
you're...
Yeah, you don't know what you're getting, so you're getting some free stuff there. I don't mind the Wicked Witch of the West idea of giving you monkeys to move enemies. It is to move an enemy for setups or even your own stuff. Her moving as well, like you said, not a big deal. It's actually not too bad, especially if she moves out of a zone into a new zone when there's potentially no enemy present.
Right. So, like, you could play, say you have Grendel, and Grendel swings, deals damage to Wicked Witch of the West. Wicked Witch of the West moves over into a lane with Gargoyle, and you've got 2 triggers in 1 turn. Obviously, that's a lot of setup, but it could happen.
It could happen, yeah. But
it'd be easier to play Burning Oil, deal damage to the Witch, and then the Witch moves into the Gargoyle lane. You know, it's a little easier to pull off, but for example.
Yes, no, that's fair enough. I noticed that there is the slime in here. Whilst I'm not the biggest fan of its stat line, I kind of dig the idea of making. It's just that this thing perpetually, as it is now standing, but it could change, dies too easily.
Yes, it does die very easily. The nice thing is that we need to look at slime as not a 3 energy 2/2. We need to look at slime as a 3 energy double 2/2. Or a 4 energy double 2/2, because we're playing into Gargoyle, we're playing Burning Oil following up, we're playing something that kills Banshee, giving all of the slimes 1 extra turn to survive, things like that. So slime is more of a random utility kind of thing. It falls into the Wicked Witch of the West. We're just looking for bodies on the field.
Notes, I'm just noticing something as well now with slime, because I think specifically I saw it on the old version of Wukong, because technically slime is doing what Wukong's doing, but slime actually benefits with you buffing it.
Yeah, so the best card that we have in the demo, again, everything can change, is Card Soldier. And the Card Soldier specifically says, when he moves, create a copy of him in the previous location.
Yes.
That means that if in the transition he gets any buffs to his attack or his toughness, the copy receives those before spawning in.
Yes.
Slime just says, no, you just get a 2/2. So it's not quite on par with the card Soldier.
No, absolutely, you're right. Yeah, it does say 2/2. Summon a 2/2. Yeah,
Right.
I misread that. I was like, wait, if you buff him, does he still make another stronger version? No, never mind.
Well, we have Trample, and we have, we have Run Over, and we have Banshee.
Yeah.
I would prefer that we have Banshee triggering on our slimes. I want to save Run Over for Eeyore or Grendel, as those are our 2 heavy hitters. But if we need it in a pinch, and we need a slime to survive so we can get just more bodies on the field, Run Over could very easily give a slime that's already sitting at 2/1 because we already copied it, or already hit it. Then we could give it 1 more life and get another slime out of it. Not ideal. We'd rather have the Banshee trigger.
Any other ways of
Who,
buff?
coincidentally, is only a 1/1.
Yes, the Banshee. That's right. The Banshee, obviously, something you don't care dying because it's going to buff your board state. I was just curious, like, was there any other options about also buffing Beowulf? Because obviously, you kind of want him to get stronger to really get value out of dealing his damage, or
Right.
I guess at some
So
point.
here's the thing. We're going to talk about some other cards that I might even take out if I were trying to be competitive with this. When I saw Gargoyle, Grendel, and Burning Oil, and then I paired things with like the Magic Lamp and Slime, the idea was, how do we lean into those cards? And Beowulf was actually an afterthought. I don't know if there's another pilot for this deck that could be better, but Beowulf just gives us a card at the start of turn that can ping one of our things for 1, and also coincidentally deals damage to the other side, character opposing it. So we're not actually running Beowulf for Beowulf. We're running Beowulf for the Dragon's Breath.
Aha, okay. Yeah, I get that now. He's just an extra added bonus.
Right. It'd be nice if we get him, but out of 25 cards, the odds are not great. He's only, since he's a legendary, we only get 1 copy of him. We get 2 of everything else. But the card that he guarantees, as the current patch that we're looking at, that obviously these things could change.
Yeah.
But with the patch that we have to go off of, Dragon's Breath is just a absolute shoo-in for what we're doing here. If we didn't have someone like Eeyore who gets +3/+3 when he takes damage, I don't know if I would necessarily consider Dragon's Breath. Dragon's Breath turns Slime into Black Knight. Kind of.
Yeah, okay.
It's more expensive, but it's more flexible, and you get another body on the board. Sinbad, Dragon's Breath, which another card we haven't even talked about yet. Dragon's Breath just gives us a mana for hitting Sinbad.
And if he does get damage as well in the same turn after you've Burning Oil, that's 2 mana on your following turn, if I'm correct, right? This is whenever he takes damage.
Right. Since we aren't able to play it, I don't know. I'm really hopeful. Sinbad, again, we're running a low to the ground deck. On average, there's 6 mana and up cards, and they're all great. Sinbad would help play something bigger that we're not running. So I look at Sinbad and I say, I could take or leave. But if we're producing Flying Monkeys, and we're producing with Magic Lamp random spells, having that extra mana is going to be nice. And then, real quick, let's talk about the last 2 cards of the deck. I could take or leave. The first one is Jill. Jill's in the deck, and her effect is, when I'm dealt damage, heal your barrier here for 2. So wherever you put her, She'll heal the barrier for 2 whenever she takes damage. Nice thing about her is she doesn't need to survive.
Yeah.
Nice thing about her is she has 4 health, so we can trigger her 4 times if we do it right. But when I look at Grendel, sometimes I feel like he does a little too much damage to my own barrier. So she's a nice buffer to help keep whatever lane I want to throw Grendel in. We're actually net positive 1 HP every time he swings, so long as Jill's still on the board. So very, very nice combo. But she only really works with 1 card. We could throw her into a Gargoyle and, guarantee on entry too. But healing just is... If healing was better, it'd be too good. I feel like we're dancing a fine line. Unfortunately, it's just not good.
No, you're absolutely right.
But if we can
there.
find situations like this where we can kind of abuse it or just get it to occur more frequently, then I feel like it could be justified. The only other card that I'm looking at that I could remove is the Pumpkin Patch. Shuffle 3 pumpkins into your opponent's deck for each evil character you have. Wicked Witch of the West is evil, and she makes evil flying monkeys. Slime is evil, and he makes more slimes. Banshee's evil, Grendel is evil, and then we've got a few neutral and good stuff. So for having Pumpkin Patch, we don't originally have a lot of evil characters, but we produce them.
Yeah, it's a hit or miss with that one. Yeah, it can work. You can throw it in to just burn your opponent for the amount of evils you have. I am also noticing Grendel hits everything, including the barriers in that particular zone. So yes, the Jill healing does synergize nicely with it.
Yes.
It's interesting enough that the barriers are going to take damage.
Grendel's great chip damage. He has to be resolved. He puts a clock on the board. Especially since, he hits for 5, but technically for 6.
Yes.
So if you want anything to survive, it has to be, something 7.
Yeah, so that's up to the opponent how they're going to block him, because at least 1 damage always gets through if he is blocked.
It's a indiscriminate snipe.
Indiscriminate snipe. Yeah, I'll go with that. I like that. I was gonna say there's a snipe is here, but it's just that it's indiscriminate because you're also taking damage, and all your stuff too. Yes. So look, I like the idea of this. I do believe Sinbad should be working the way that at least I'm thinking of it. That if you are able to damage it at least twice in a round, you should be recuperating 2 free mana on the next turn.
Right.
At least that's how I'm reading it. Again, everything is definitely subject to change at this point now, because we know that cards are being changed.
Right.
So we don't know exactly how many. But it'll be fun to see, obviously, when we get to October, what happens to change and how much of this deck retains some of its aspects. And we'll go from there, basically.
It'd be interesting to see, because I know that there's a patch playtest coming out soon that they're hoping to get a handful of players to look at. It'll be interesting to see. I assume we'll get to see some of the changes that they've been making. And then we can kind of go from there. Like if I were to try to build this deck with cards that shift, I'm looking for keyword survive. I'm looking for damaged. Past tense. Obviously, Jill isn't, but Eeyore says past tense. Or just other. Honestly, if you look up damage, you're probably going to get a lot of cards still. That's not going to help filter too much, but it'll help get you in the right track.
Yeah, true. You have, say, when I survive damage, when I'm dealt damage, when I survive damage, when I'm damaged, when I'm just like in that, or when I'm damaged. So, yeah, it should, maybe some of the wording could be cleaned up a bit just to be absolutely certain about exactly what this means. Like, is it just because if I damage it, or is it when it takes combat damage? Yeah. I assume it's just any form of damage they receive, their effects trigger. That's it.
I haven't seen anything that would indicate otherwise.
Yeah. So maybe just a cleaning up on some words. But yeah, that's your Beowulf deck. So anything else you want to throw into that? Or
No, I think just if you're gonna run it, be considerate of when you can play Banshee to get some nice pumps, because you really want to pair Banshee with Slime. Um, Giving anything +1 is good, by all means, but specifically we're targeting the Slimes with that. And then whatever lanes you want to shut down, that's where you want Grendel, that's where you want Gargoyle. And then just try to hold on for Trample and Eeyore.
That's it.
That's the big winner right there.
If anything, now, because I do believe Beowulf really does synergize with it. I think a buff to Beowulf, if it needs to be, it's that his turtle power is what he should be dealing to the enemy barrier.
Yeah, he's only dealing the damage he survives, so it's really just minor chip damage.
And yeah, you want more value out of Beowulf, is that whatever power he is, no matter what chip damage he takes, that's what he's inflicting to the enemy barrier. Maybe that's too strong. I don't know, personally.
Well, I could justify, the trade of making him cost more. We do need to remember he has a 4 mana card. 5 toughness on a 4 mana body is nothing to scoff at, but we are also trying to slowly kill him.
Yeah. So I could see, maybe because the damage output probably is just not respectable that he's punching, especially with that effect. Yeah. If it was just a flat, every time I take damage, I deal this damage always. If it was just a flat number, yeah, sure. Like, you'd benefit of it, and then you probably, like you said, healing is not the strongest thing. And we could benefit with some different
healing
heal cards.
Gets some love, Beowulf is going to be a menace.
If anything as well, if I would look at Beowulf, and I am looking at the concept of this, of like, I want to damage my own shit so I can hurt my opponent, I would make Beowulf say, while I'm on the field, if any of your allies were to take damage, inflict a certain amount of damage to the enemy barrier. All right, that's just a flat number. Doesn't need to be high. It just needs to be a flat number. Like, which Queen of the Night is just a respectable flat 2 damage. It stacks when there's 3 of her in one lane and you do one spell that's 6 damage. I've done it plenty of times, but it stacks, and it's just like, yep, that's 6 damage here. Let me do another spell. Oh, look, I just did 12 damage without even trying to hit your barrier. Okay?
Yes, there are some other cards that they have a similar mechanism with easier mechanics to trigger.
Yes.
And without coming at the cost of the machine.
Yes. So, I mean, I see this, and I think, look, if Beowulf just simply said that when myself and my allies survive damage, we inflict damage to the barrier for 1 or 2 damage. All right?
Yeah.
Effectively, it is kind of like that weird snipe, but it is taking point of damage. But then it just adds a lot of synergy to this deck in general, which then just allows a lot of extra damage.
Yep.
That could be really strong.
And I get it. You're looking at 2 damage. That doesn't look that menacing by any means. But when you start to leave that for 2, 3, 4 turns, you start to think, okay, how do I deal with this? What do I got to do to deal with this? A bullseye is not going to cut it. An axe is not going to cut it. And if you do Dark Omen, destroy a character. If you do anything other than that, and Beowulf survives, you're just taking a bunch of damage. He's kind of like Jack in the Box, almost, in my mind. That's 2 damage that you're gonna let go. It's a 2/1, and when it dies, it deals 2 damage to your opponent's barrier. Yeah. So obviously, this Beowulf wants to survive. Jack in the Box wants to die. But you look at Jack in the Box, and you're like, it's just 2 damage. I'll let it go. until you've let it go for too long. You're like, okay, well now I have to deal with it, and it's still going to deal 2 damage.
Yeah, it's still
So
gonna
I
do
think
that.
kind of the system that Beowulf's trying to fit into.
Yeah, I look forward to when we get close to October and when we get that early access play. Yeah, see what the changes happen, because yeah, it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be nice. Thought I saw my cat here for a second. All right, I guess that's it. Yeah, on the Kingpin Beowulf.
Thanks, Vincent, for helping me cover this. It's been fun to make a few of these decks. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to when things get more finalized and we can go wild.
Yeah, no, me too, man. Appreciate it for coming around. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. Stay tuned. We'll be making some more videos on some theory crafting decks. Yeah, it's not gonna be final. These are just ideas planting in the stone, and we're just getting ready for what's coming next. And then, yeah, we'll adapt as we go. But yeah, appreciate for watching, guys, and we'll catch you in the next video. See ya.